Hello everyone, today we are going to look at one topic related to intermediate financial accounting, which is a bond. What is bond? Let's look at the base. Bond means something that is issued by the issuer. The issuer is the one with the financial debt to the bondholder. The bondholder is the one who buys the bond from the issuer. So the bondholder should have surplus finance. So this surplus finance goes from the holder to the issuer with a contract using a bond, and on the bond there is something called indenture. Indenture is a rule and an agreement written on the bond itself. So when we summarize, a bond is a contract which has its own indenture, and from the issuer, sold from the issuer to the holder. There is something called coupon interest rate. A coupon interest rate is a percentage of interest the issuer pays to the holder. So on the bond there is an agreement that the issuer agrees to pay to the holder a specified percentage of interest. What about a market interest rate? A market interest rate is what something our competitors pay. If we agree to pay an interest of 10%, however, if the market in a current situation pays 12%, that means our market interest rate is more than on the coupon interest rate stated in our bond. A coupon interest rate is something that is stated in the bond indenture, which the issuer agrees to pay. However, market interest rate is what the market in current situation is paying, what our competitors are paying. Other names include, for the market interest rate, we can call it a cost of debt, required rate of return, effective interest rate. All of these are equivalent with market interest rate. So now that we have understood two terms, coupon interest rate and market interest rate, aka required rate of return. So coupon interest rate is 10%, which is stated on this bond. So this bond has agreed to pay 10% of interest annually. Also on this bond something is stated. This bond is saying that I will pay you $1 million at the maturity. Maturity means the agreed time where the issuer pays back the money and the holder returns the bond to the issuer. For example, if the maturity is 10 years, this means if I hold this bond today by paying the money to the issuer will pay me back this time on the agreed date. So here from the start, the issuer agreed to pay a specified amount of money at the maturity. So in this case, he is telling me that he promised to pay me back $1 million after 10 years. But according to time value of money, the money today worth more than the money we get tomorrow. So when he say, I will pay you $1 million after 10 years, in order to agree or not disagree, I should know the value of this $1 million that he gave me this time right now. How much this $1 million is valued. So for that I need these informations. One, the maturity period, it's 10 years in this case. The other is the par value. Par value is a stated value on the bond, for example, or a promised value on the bond. For example, in this case the $1 million. This bond is promising to pay $1 million after 10 years. Probably that $1 million which comes after 4 years might be less than 1 million or more than 1 million. That will be calculated in the present value by discounting the value of this 1 million and knowing how much it was today. So for that, what I need the information is this maturity time, which is called N. Here in the formula you can see here N. Here also there is one N. And the par value or the stated value on the bond. that's the value the bond promised to pay. This is called M, maturity. And the other information that I need is the coupon interest rate. A stated value, the coupon is agreed to pay an interest. How much interest this issuer is the issuer have to pay according to the value stated on the bond. This is in this case 10%. So let me look in the three scenarios. One is when market interest rate or required return is 8%. One is on 12% and one on 10%. This tells us our bond pays 10% when the market pays 8%. This is good for the holder. The other one is our bond pays 10% when the market interest or when others pays 12% more interest for the holders. The other one is when we pay 10% or when our certificate agrees to pay 10% or promise to pay 10%, and when even the market also agrees to pay 10%. In order to calculate the present value of future cash flows, the first thing we will use is this I, interest. The interest amount is the compound interest rate times the par value. So we will multiply the par value with the interest rate in order to get the annual interest payment from the issuer to the holder. This means the coupon agrees to pay 10% or the issuer agrees to pay 10% of 1 million. Always this percentage is stated in terms of the par value, and 10% of 1 million is 100,000. We use 100,000 here. 1 minus, we use only coupon interest rate here in this I, but for this we use 1 over 1 minus 1 plus what is I. We use required rate of return, which is 8% in this case. The power of n is 10% here, over I is I percentage, means this 8%. We know that the issuer will pay us a periodic interest, annual interest, for 10 years, 10 interest payments, and at the end he will pay the maturity of $1 million that he promised. So what we will do is to discount all of the interest payments in this 10 years period. So we discount year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, every interest payment, this 100,000 periodic interest rates to the present value first. That will be done using this formula. So plus, this is the formula we use to discount the last maturity payment to the present value. This one here, M is 1 million, the par value, divided by 1 plus what is the interest. We use the interest, the required rate of return, or the market interest rate here, 8%. 1 plus 0.8%, or sorry, 1 plus 8% will become 1.08 to the power of n is 10 years. With that, we'll find the present value of all future cash flows that we get from the issuer as a bondholder. But in this calculation, something that I want you to know is, what if the issuer pays the interest semi-annually rather than annually? This means, as we have said, this here there is year 1 and year 2 ... etc. to until it became year 10. However, for this year 10, for these 10 years, if the issuer wants to pay the interest, this 10% interest, semi-annually, here this will be given in terms of annual rate. If we say the issuer pays 10% annually and the issuer pays the interest semi-annually, if we told that, we'll multiply n by 2. This means these 10 years become 20 years, and the required rate of return. Note that always these two things will be given as annual percentage of the par value, annual payment, as annual payment of the percentage of the par values. So if we say we require the rate of return given 8%, this means what the holder, the issuer annually pays when compared 8% compared with the par value. The same applies with the coupon interest rate. However, if the information given is saying that the issuer pays semi-annually rather than annually, so simply we will divide every year by half. Rather than 10 payments, the issuer should pay 20 times. So there will be 20 payments. So n should be 20. For all of these 20 payments, for each payment, the issuer pays 100, not 100 per thousand, rather than 100 per thousand divided by 2, which is 50,000. 50,000 for the first payment, for the second payment also 50,000, for the third, for the fourth, for those 20 payments, you should pay 50,000 interest payment. This means I should become 50,000 rather than 100,000. Also, the market interest